Tinubu didn't have to send the Air Force and the military to deal with this particular insurrection, this threat to our own sense of security and equilibrium. No, there are easier ways of doing it. Let me tell you where Tinubu should have looked for forces to quell that insurrection. Right here in Lagos, right here. Or in Abuja, perhaps, I don't know. But there was no need to call the military or the Air Force. I'll tell you what happened. On one of my home visits, this about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I said, oh, they're shooting a film. That was on the grounds of this hotel. And a young man detached himself from the actors, came over and greeted me, very polite, very nice young man. And I said, are you shooting somebody? I said, I'm just joking. Are you shooting a film? He said, no. And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying that, the grounds of that hotel, in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car and I asked the driver who that young man was. And he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time, the president should just call and say, Seyi, go and quell the rebellion over there. I was so astonished that I started looking for the National Security Advisor. I said, track him down for me. I think they got him somewhere in Paris, but I was with the president. He was at a meeting. And I said, I've just seen something I can't believe, I don't understand. And I described the scene to him. I said, do you mean that a child of the head of state goes around with an army for his protection or whatever? I couldn't believe it. Later on, I did some investigative journalism. And I inquired, and I found that apparently this is how this young man goes around with his battalion, his heavy armed soldiers. Of course, the road was cleared before his car went out. I stayed until it seemed he was leaving. So next time there's an insurrection, I think the president should just call that young man and say, go and put down those stupid people there. You have enough troops under your command, so don't bother me with all these security issues any longer. Let's not overdo things. This is not the first country that has a head of state. It's not the first country whose head of state has families. And I think children should know their place. They are not potentates. They're not heads of state. And the security architecture of a nation like this suffers some injury and alienation when we see such a heavy devotion of security to one young individual. You'll excuse me, but I'm in and out most of the time. And this place is named after me. It's my center. So if I go off the immediate subject of our ward, I hope you'll excuse me for taking possession of my own center.